are back. We have lots of smoke spraying on stage. It looks really epic, I promise. We're back with a brand new season of KSL for real this time. What do you think about that new opener for KSL Season 4, Jake?
Are you talking about the red minerals?
I don't know why the minerals are red. I was theorizing they're high-yield minerals because that's a mechanic from StarCraft 2, but those minerals are orange, so I don't know where we're growing red minerals from. I mean, that's like red kryptonite, and it turns us into evil, sexier versions of ourselves. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, yeah.
There's only one way to find out, and that's to get into this. No, but I'm really excited for this season. We've got 4 days of group stages and then an extra day of the decider playoff matches for those. But today we will qualify at least one player for the round of 8, which is going to be really fun because it's like the tournament is just now starting, but also almost over. So it's going to go by really, really fast, but there's going to be a lot of games.
Yeah, I mean, so I believe we actually get to do whatever we want with this segment right now.
That's true. So. Yeah, this is a really cool...
We can actually read Twitch chat if we wanted to.
Yeah, so here's the cool thing about this. We were briefed about this before, and basically the way that we're going to do this is we're going to open Twitch chat and have a chance to at least see what you're talking about, maybe respond a little bit to some of the questions that you have about this season of KSL. I can't wait to hear what the audience wants to say.
Well, we know Twitch chat is GM, so
yeah,
everything.
Yeah, they're way out of Frontier League for sure. We do have an opening video, I believe, for this new season, so let's show that right now.
Okay.
Okay, I thought we did. All right, we're back. So unfortunately, it appears as if right now the Twitch chat is in emote-only mode. So I'm not sure why it is that way. I am not modded, so unfortunately we're just going to have to watch you guys PogChamp a little bit, which is exciting but not very interactive for us. So while hopefully that will be updated in the future, for now we just get to talk about this brand new exciting season of KSL.
I mean,
what an exciting turn of events. This is definitely not the way I expected the show to start. But I guess we could just start talking about this season and maybe some highlights.
Sure.
You had a chance to watch some of the qualifier games. Was there anything that stood out to you? Any exciting players that you saw?
I mean, the qualifier was mostly mismatches. Like,
right.
Especially the first qualifier group days. Like, I don't think I saw like 1-2-1 or 1-3-1 or something. It was mostly 3-0s and 2-0s.
Yeah, I guess you kind of expect that from the qualifiers, right?
Yeah, there wasn't. The games were kind of interesting, I guess, but there was nothing crazy. There were actually a lot of StarCraft 2 player names that we saw. Like really? Stardust was in there.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There was another StarCraft player. I can't remember his name, but there were a couple StarCraft 2 people that I recognized that were playing. I don't think they qualified. The only one I know qualified was 4GG.
Yeah,
which you have strong opinions on.
Well, so if you guys remember 4GG, then he's been around for a long, long time in StarCraft 1 and then in StarCraft 2, and now he's back to StarCraft 1 again, and he qualified for the season. So we have some updates for you guys about this season of KSL, which I think we should be showing on screen now. Man, I'm so good at that.
That was good.
By my powers combined. It's an overview of the season. So today we're going to be working on Group A in the round of 16, and then tomorrow Group B, and then Group C and D. You guys get the idea. But what's cool about this is we get to do all 4 games, or all 4 best of 5s, and then the decider matches will all be played on the, I believe, after all 4 of the groups are done, if I'm correct about that.
I actually like that format. It lets the deciding matches get more preparation, you know? So you're not just out. Like, for example, if you're about to be eliminated, you get time to prep for that match, right?
Yeah, that's actually really cool. It's also very suspenseful.
Yeah.
You don't know who's going to make it until next week. Tune in next time, kind of that idea. This is a look at our map pool. Basically all the normal maps, but we do have some wacky ones. I would characterize Eddie as a very solid map that's definitely not like any other 4-player map. And Blockchain is also a map that, at least for Terran players, like that's going to be maybe a little bit of a struggle. And we're going to be opening our set on In the Way of an Eddie, or just Eddie.
In way of an Eddie or the Eddie?
So the full map title name is In the Way of an Eddie. Like,
okay.
I'm standing in a calmly moving stream kind of thing, because that's like the flow in the middle.
I see it now. Yeah, I see it.
We suggested that we play that with 4 players, but unfortunately we're only going to be having 2 this time around. But here's a look at our groups for this season. Kukulza is a player named Modesty. If you remember Modesty, he's qualified for, I think, 3 KSLs in a row, so really impressive considering that I don't think he's qualified for a whole lot of other leagues. I think he was in ASL maybe 1 season, and he plays in some amateur or some third-party tournaments. But Modesty, Mine, Stork, Mini for Group A, then Saxry, Rush, Best, and Rain, then Sharp, Snow, Sorry, Soma, 4GG, Light, Hyuk, and Zero.
Saxry, I've heard, is doing really well.
Yeah, he is just good at every game. I think he's played, 3 or 4 different Blizzard titles, and now he's back to StarCraft 1.
He used to be really good at StarCraft 2 for a little while. There was like a little reign of Saxry, and then he kind of disappeared.
Yeah, he played in Europe a lot, right?
Yeah, he was a WCSU Korean.
Well, so you're saying he did very well.
Well,
nice.
Yeah, he did very well.
Well, he's back to StarCraft 1, and he has actually qualified for a couple of seasons of KSL. I think he made it into ASL one time and had some okay performances, but he is kind of an underdog, especially in Group B, which we'll be doing tomorrow, because Best and Rain are just 2 of the best Protoss players ever to grace the world. But we're in Group A to start things off. We've got Modesty, Mine, Stork, and Mini. And, you know, Stork is a legend of all times, and Mini made it to the finals of last season, so you really have to look forward to those guys playing today.
Yeah, Mini has some really nice PvP in general. Like, he looks really sick. I mean, he got bopped, what is it, by Rain?
Rain
is Rain.
So Mini bopped Stork 3-1 in the semifinals, and then Rain bopped Mini in the grand finals. And we're talking bopped, like not close games at all. So you really have to watch out for, A, how this semifinal match is going to go. And if he meets Rain again, and they get some vengeance, like, I don't know if it's going to be different this time.
Rain is just untouchable, it seems.
That's a great point to make. This season, we definitely have a clear favorite in Rain. You know, maybe last would have been a contender, but he didn't qualify for this season, so he's just not here. So I don't actually know. It's hard to tell who the 2nd or 3rd best players in KSL, because Rain is just so dominant right now.
We're missing some of our big boys, too.
Yeah, that's right. Guys like Flash retired because of wrist injuries, and he's also considering entering the military, and I think that's kind of the case for a lot of different players. So we actually get to highlight a lot of upcoming talent in this season.
Yeah, that can foster some interest, though. Like the fact that it's not just Flash winning every KSL or ASL or whatever it may be. There's a bit more contention for 1st and 2nd, which is nice.
Like, I love watching a Flash stomp, like, just like everybody else does, but it is cool to see other players kind of have their own chance here. We've got some very strong Zerg players that are still coming up, guys like Queen, or also known as Zero, who we'll get a chance to see. Guys like Soma, who is widely considered the best Zerg player in the world, but is kind of new to this season of KSL for sure. But let's talk about our first matchup. Starting off, okay, let's get this meme out of the way, right? Okay, Kukulza is the ID that he qualified under, and if there's some memes about that, I don't understand, but his real name is Modesty. Well, his real name is Kim Hyun-woo, but his ID that is most commonly known as is Modesty. So we're just going to call him Modesty. If that's confusing, maybe get used to that.
Yeah, we'll call him Modesty. I mean, I don't know. If this name was better, then maybe we'd call him this name, but Kukulza is not a very good name to say. It doesn't flow off the tongue, you know?
For sure. Now, Modesty was a ZvZ god back in the day, and he actually beat Calm, who's a very kind of strong, weird, wacky streamer guy, who's also an ex-pro player and has qualified for offline tournaments before, like ASL. Modesty beat him in the qualifiers very handily 3-0, but last season he actually had some of the craziest, wackiest, dumbest games of StarCraft versus guys like Lita and Sharp, I think it was. So don't sleep on that guy's TVZ either. But also, this guy's TVZ is pretty good. Mind is back this season. You can see that historically in KSL and ASL, he has a 64% win rate versus Zerg.
It's pretty good, especially because Modesty's was 35%, I think, versus Terran.
Yeah, exactly. And you look at the way that he has, or the players he's beaten, The last 2 games that he had in Season 2, because he didn't qualify for Season 3, were a 3-0 versus Sulky, which is a ludicrous score. Nobody does that to Sulky.
Nobody.
But mine did. Sulky had a very off day, very uncharacteristic, and mine kind of caught him his pants down and beat him 3-0, which was very surprising. But that was a long time ago, almost a year ago when that happened. So it's been a while for Modesty, or for mine.
Yeah, I mean, Sulky's gotten better too.
Oh, for sure.
If that was a more recent result, that would be very scary for Modesty.
So this is actually very exciting to watch both of these players play because Mind is a very good TVZ, but I know a lot of people out there in the community have been saying maybe he's not looking so hot right now, whereas Modesty is still a very up-and-coming player, so we don't know exactly what to expect. The first game is going to be on In the Way of an Eddy, so let's get into it. I think we should be about ready to start here pretty soon.
I think we should.
All right, 3, 2, 1, let's do it. All right, here we go. This is so exciting. It's a brand new season of KSL, and we're already going to start things off with our first game in this best of 5. So in the upper right-hand corner of In the Way of an Eddy is Mind, and down here is Modesty, or Kukulza.
I like how they swooped it on you.
Yeah, if he really wanted to help himself out, he could name himself like Kekulza or something like really, really troll. But keep in mind, this guy is a guy named Modesty.
Modesty was a cool name. Modesty's a great name.
Modesty was one of the very first Zerg players I fell in love with way, way back in the day, like 2007, 2008. He was a really strong up-and-coming ZvZ player, and especially in Pro League, he did very, very well for his team. But nowadays, he's kind of an underdog, but he still plays a very kind of weird, aggressive style. I don't know what to expect here, but let's keep an eye on our opening builds and see what is going on.
2008, I was in elementary school still.
Oh my God.
I was 12.
I mean, this game is basically as old as you are.
It is, actually. I was born in 96.
Oh my, wow. So only a little bit before StarCraft.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a couple years on StarCraft.
Well, here's hoping StarCraft's still around when your kids are born, and then they can also have a game.
Back in my day.
Back in my day.
I was 2 years old when the game came out. You guys are 20 years after the game came out.
Yeah, I know. I feel like Eustace and Muriel. I'm way old compared to StarCraft. But actually, I'm very excited that these players have stuck around here because they are both still very, very good. So this is going to be, I believe, a 12 pool coming in for Modesty. The name's still going to throw me off. And it is going to be, I believe, a 1-1-1 coming in here from Mind, which is maybe a little bit of an outdated style, but there's this really cool like Goliath way to open for Terrans now that I think you see it a lot versus like Protoss, but also you can use it against Zerg. I'm still kind of interested to see what version of this Mind wants to play.
I like the Overlord scouting pass is quite interesting, right? The first right Overlord goes to the bottom right, but what's this? The second Overlord, I guess, is looking for bunkers and stuff. I mean,
yeah, you do have some stuff to worry about. This is not as bunker rushable a map as I think others are. Obviously, it's 4 players, so if you don't get the first scout off, you're going to be slower on that rush idea. And Mine's not going for a rush, so
I guess
Modesty.
Also, the Overlord can't really go into scout. A Marine would just kill it, right? So.
It's so crazy how good Marines are for the first, like, 3 minutes of the game, and then how bad they are as soon as like Lings come out. Especially once Ling speed happens, Marines just like don't exist anymore. They can't be outside their crazy little bunkers, and then they get medics and they start killing everything again. So it's really a cool dance that these races do early on.
So that Marine was trying to go for the Overlord, I guess.
Yeah.
Also scouting.
It's cool to see players really recognizing those timings and saying, okay, well, if he scouted here, here's where the Overlord would be, and then I can go kill it. But, I mean, these players are obviously well aware of that.
Yeah. SCV getting pushed away. It might, if it gets in there and sees the lair, that's a pretty nice tell. I mean,
for sure.
Most people expect it, but it's really nice to confirm that. It's not getting it.
Almost getting that SCV. Yeah, being denied the scout early on is so scary as a Terran player because keep in mind, you don't have scan yet. You really have no way of knowing if your opponent's going for one of these like crazy one base all-ins or something.
Yeah, especially with 1-1-1. I mean, like you were saying before, there's not very many units with 111. So if you can't confirm exactly what it is, it could be really scary. Like, let's say this is like some weird Ling Flood or something. You only have 2 Marines. I mean, I don't know how you're going to hold that.
No, that's super scary because you also don't know the opener.
And a Vulture, I guess.
I mean, the Vulture will be kind of God mode early on, so there's not an incredible amount of things to worry about. And the Ling gets picked off, so he's not going to note anything either, because the Overlords are also very slow. But it is just going to be that 2-hatch Muta play like we were kind of talking about a little bit before the show.
Yeah.
Very, very popular opener these
Especially
days.
for Modesty. I mean, Modesty's Muta control seems like really strong and something that he definitely characterizes himself by practicing and using. So, not too surprising that he's doing that. The SCV coming back a full HP SCV for the Scout. Should see the Sunk and probably know what's going on. I mean, you wouldn't build a Sunk and be really aggressive. That'd be a little weird.
Right, but it does tell you that both players have a really good read on each other's builds. Oh, wow, he lost the Vulture. That is bad.
Yeah, that is a nice pick off.
So you just don't have very many units, like we were talking about earlier with 1-1-1. And
Engineering bay on the way. I think he smells it. I mean, you can smell it, right? There's no link speed. I mean, where's the gas going? It's not going to be like some weird lurker thing, most likely. Sunken, it just makes sense that this is going to be Mutas. So he's already getting an engineering bay. He has a starport already. There's a lot of options to play around this now if you're the Terran player. It's kind of in his court, though, because the Zerg is going to be quite aggressive with Mutas.
Yeah, so the reason you go 1-1-1 is that it gives you a lot of versatility. You can kind of get a little bit of everything. So he gets the 1 Wraith out, and this is going to allow him to scout a lot. Maybe he picks off an Overlord or 2, but this is primarily for scouting because he doesn't have really good information. But it's not going to do anything against Mutas once those come out, although it will help if the Mutas decide to like dive into a mineral line or something like that.
Yeah, I think he won't overextend that Wraith. I'm sure he knows that there's a really high chance of Mutas. I mean, really high chance.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost guaranteed at this point.
Yeah, so you see the Wraith just going home. I think he was just looking for a quick Overlord pick off, but he doesn't get it. That's okay, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Wraith going home to a safe place. It's kind of nice to actually push away Mutas if you're in a turret. Like, the Mutas are never going to dive on a Wraith when there's turrets there. So the Wraith can kind of be annoying and just micro around a little bit.
Yeah, I actually think this is going to equalize. But right as I say that, watch Modesty just get crazy insane Muta damage done. The turrets are almost a little bit late at the natural. There is only one of them. This is 4 Mutas, so I mean, not a lot of Mutas, but if there's a weak spot, Modesty's going to find it here.
Yeah, Mutas are now confirmed. I mean, it was pretty much confirmed before.
Surprise, yeah, that's exactly what he thought they were going to be. Maybe some ways to like pick off some fringe buildings there, but actually mine looks pretty solid.
Yeah, mine's defense is pretty unbreakable with low Muta counts. I mean, he can be annoying. He's going to get into CV here. See the Wraith coming and just being really annoying. It makes it hard for the stutter step to happen without taking any damage. Also, it's a little bit harder to kind of calculate how many shots your Mutas can take with a Wraith in it.
Yeah. Oh, wow, actually continuing to go in here. These Mutas are really hurt. I don't know how many Mutas he can even afford to lose. I think that's a second Wraith even. Yeah, so he went double Wraith here. Now, I don't know what your thoughts are about Wraiths. Yeah, I think he actually might be adding on a third one.
Did he get Cloak, too?
I mean, I think you get a Cloak at this point, but, like...
I think he got it, though. I thought that Starport was flashing.
If it was, then, I mean, that's kind of cool, because probably you can pick off the Overlord, then the Mutas can't do anything. But Wraiths versus Mutas, like, you can micro-Wraiths like Mutas, but they're just not as good. So, I mean, Cloak is like the haha gotcha moment, but then an Overlord shows up and you can't fight anymore.
Also, Mutas, like, they scale way better. Like, when you get a ton of Mutas versus a ton of Wraiths, I mean, it gets kind of embarrassing, especially with Scourge.
Yeah, if they could figure out a way to make Wraith missiles ricochet like Glaive Worms did, then maybe, but...
You'd give Terran a Muta?
Maybe it's an upgrade, bouncy missiles, I don't know. But you're right, they just don't do as well as Mutas do.
I'm really interested. I mean, I don't know if this 3 Wraith run by is actually going to do anything. I mean, maybe if it snipes off a bunch of Overlords, it can do a lot. I think that's the plan, right? You go in and you try to snipe Overlords at the natural.
He's playing this a little bit like a PvZ, where you go try to kill a bunch of Overlords, but the only problem is that you can't die, or you have to not die while you do that. And there's not enough, so he's going to Cloak here. Unfortunately, I don't know
the turrets, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Modesty's play here, but there's a lot of turrets.
There are quite a few turrets here, but mining stopped. That's nice. But he actually just doesn't have anything at home. It's hard to say who's doing more damage here.
I feel like because Modesty has Mutas and there's not really much here for Mind. I mean, he's got 1 Starport, 1 Factory, 1 Rax.
I didn't realize he was just going to have nothing at home.
Yeah, he does have nothing at home. But these Mutas, how do you ever deal with them? I mean, yeah, he does have a Science Vessel. I guess if it has enough energy, he can eventually plague it. Oh, and these are getting pushed back. And there's out of energy, too, so these should die eventually.
Right, well, here's the thing. It's like, it sucks to lose all those drones. That's a lot of damage to deal to Modesty. But now what does he have?
Right, that's what I mean. Right? Oh, yeah, we already have a Hive on the way, too.
Oh, yeah. So
Look at all the turrets.
Yeah, turrets are the only thing keeping Mind alive right now. But it's bought him just enough
he splits
time.
the wrong one.
Man, that was actually really, really close. That's a lot of damage to take on these mutas, but you only get one irradiate right now, so that's it. It might be, I think it's enough to push the mutas back, but did Mind deal enough damage? Because he also took quite a bit, too.
Yeah, Mind taking off gas, or Modesty taking off gas, rather. I think it's important because he doesn't really have very many drones on minerals, too.
He lost a lot.
Yeah, he needs to kind of pump out some drones. I think he has a lot of room, too, though. Like, this is a lot of mutas. I don't think he goes for the kill. It's way too many turrets.
Yeah, well, that's kind of a liability, too.
He's still losing mutas,
Like,
actually.
Mind turtled up like a monster. He has so many turrets right now. So it's kind of confusing to see Modesty still go in for damage. I mean, I guess he kind of has to because he took a lot of damage, but that's a lot of turrets.
Yeah, I don't think he ever goes for the kill. I think he's just being annoying. It's really interesting because I think Mind actually always planned for the mutas to do that damage. Like, you saw him build like 6 turrets, right? And then he went in with the race.
Yeah.
So it was almost like he wanted this to happen, but it felt like the mutas found their opening that Mind may or may not have planned for. It feels like he wasn't planning for the mutas to go in so deep.
Right. He probably did not consider that Modesty was going to do that. Now,
2-base Ultra.
Yeah, this is a Kukulza or Modesty is way all in on this. 2-base Ultra is a little bit desperate, but you're definitely hoping that your opponent just doesn't have a lot because that's a lot of missile turrets that don't shoot Ultralisks.
Yeah. I mean, he might
Oh,
find
there's a queen. Yeah. I love it. If he gets to the command center and fest off this game, that's going to be choice.
It's possible, I guess, if the Ultras damage it enough.
Well, he's just going to get one very nice Broodling off, and that's going to be it. But
one thing it feels is production has been really slow for Mind. I mean, he just doesn't have very much production structures.
I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess you could ensnare with this. I've never seen 2-base Ultra Queen before, at least not for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure either. It's just a strange opening.
Well, oh my God! That was
so
such
nice.
a sick snipe. The turret was right there.
That's so nice. I mean, every vessel that goes down is huge. This is basically his army, like the 2 vessels.
Yeah, keep in mind the vessels are really the only real way to deal with Ultras.
Yeah, like if he loses those, the Ultras are just going to reign supreme. Like, there's not enough Marines, and there's not enough production either. It's only 1 barracks.
This is so weird to kind of suss out because as a Zerg player, you really have to know that your opponent is really weak to these Ultras because if you go Ultras off 2-base, that's it. That's all you're doing. That's your game plan.
Yeah, he does have a 3rd on the way, so it's not completely all in. But yeah.
I mean, you need 3 gases to pump Ultras. It's kind of like a bare minimum.
Right. I think the ball is a bit on Mind's court here still. Okay, he's finally adding on more production. He's got 3 Raxes. Well, I don't know if... it depends, because Modesty could just go for it and send the Ultras in, but I don't think that's his plan. I don't feel like he's been, like, showcasing that. I mean, there's, like, a drone transfer towards the 3rd. Feels like it's defensive, mostly. Ooh, nice irradiate on the mutas.
Oh, no, we're not seeing that. Oh, wow, that was kind of a late pull. Yeah, he still hasn't split that. That was a lot of damage from just one irradiate. He's got another irradiate here, but hey, every
Ultras
irradiate...
are going to destroy this army, though, if it comes in. I think he has no idea Ultras
How
are
many
already
Sunkens does he have at the front? Did you catch that? If it's still only 1, then he's in a lot of trouble.
More than 1.
Okay.
Oh, no, he only has 1, but there are going to be Ultras popping here. There has to be.
Yeah, those are going to be Ultras, but they won't be very highly upgraded. We don't have the production tab, but I'm not sure how much... how far along Carapace is. Oh, wow, he's already at +3. Okay, then that Carapace finished a lot faster than I expected.
Yeah,
I'm definitely not used to this fast Ultras.
He should be able to deal with this, even with irradiate on the Ultras. There's not enough time, and he's also pushing really far in. I don't think he knows.
Yeah, he is way overextended here. He's going to lose everything. That ensnare on the Marines, beautiful. They now do basically nothing. Slowed movement speed and attack speed, and they're all going to die. That's the entirety of Mind's army, and he's going to lose the Science Vessel as well.
Yeah, this is a really, really nice defense.
Oh my God.
I think this is what he was planning on doing the whole time. Like I said, it didn't really make much sense to go aggressive Ultras, like especially when you're taking your 3rd. But this makes a lot of sense.
But I don't think anybody could expect Mind to like overplay his hand there, because Mind just lost basically his entire army.
Well, Mind had no idea there was Ultras out already. Like I can't imagine, especially because I saw Irradiate's not going down on Ultras. Like he had to have known that, or had to have not known. Because he just used the Irradiate immediately, you know?
I mean, they are slow Ultras, but they do have the Carapace upgrade already. So, I mean, this is crazy. I mean, Marines, I think these are, they're +1 Marines, but still, Carapace Ultras are going to survive a long time. Yeah, Mine just taps out. He can't do it. Damn!
I don't think mine could have done anything in that position either way.
Well,
like, it's not like he can take a third. There's already ultras and upgrades out. It's not like he can go be aggressive because there's, you know, ultras and, you know, he's got a decent defense. I think this was the only... Well, I mean, GGing was totally reasonable.
Yeah, it was totally reasonable. There was that moment before he committed into the third where he probably should have made sure if there were ultras or not because he didn't have a good enough idea about what to expect. Maybe Modesty just really sold that super hard. Either way, a really cool, creative way for Modesty to pull out the W in Game 1.
Yeah, it made a lot of sense. It was very strategic and smart. I mean, it was really interesting from Mine, though. I thought Mine's strategy was really, really good. I just don't think he was expecting the run-by, the Muta run-by. Like, he had all these turrets on the production, but his mineral line was kind of lacking. It was only 2. And imagine, like, those Mutas do no damage to Mind, and all the Wraith do. Wraith does exactly the same amount of damage.
Yeah,
like,
then Mine's in a great spot. Yeah,
Mine
for sure.
probably just wins. So it's made a lot of sense. A little bit of an error, I guess, not defending his mineral line the way he wanted to.
Well, Terran players just don't do that. You don't build 3 Rays and run across the map with them, because just like we
not a
saw,
thing, yeah.
well, I mean, if you're going to do that, you have to be super solid on your turrets, because that's the way you take damage and lose the game, is if they decide to, you know, try to trade there. So either way, Modesty wins game number 1 in a super unique style, and I think that game is really the quintessential Modesty experience. Like, that's what he does. He does weird stuff that you don't expect and then kills you with it. So
Mine tried to do weird stuff and kill you with it, but it didn't work.
I mean, he did get a lot of drones with those Rays, right?
It would have worked, I think, if it wasn't for the turrets just dying.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the way that you build turrets in your main, like if you're a new player and you're like, okay, I need to defend against mutas with turrets. Some places, especially if you're on a map like Fighting Spirit, which is kind of your standard map, finding a place to put turrets in a lot of positions is just so hard. And then you mess it up and you block your minerals and you can't mine.
Yeah.
Like, oops.
Yeah, it's kind of annoying because you can't just build like 4 turrets either because then you're blocking your entire mineral line.
Well, also, where are the mutas going to attack from? They're going to attack over here, over there.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Yeah,
But
I mean, that's kind of the complexity with dealing with mutas in general.
yeah. It looks like we're going to have a 2-minute break, guys, so don't go anywhere. We will be right back with game number 2, and I think we're going to try to have a lot more breaks coming up as well. So it's going to be quite a long day. Lots of StarCraft to come. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, to KSL. We're already done with our first game.
We
so
are.
What do you think?
I mean, a hell of a first game. I'm hoping that the rest of the series looks like this. It looks like mine came well prepared, honestly. Like, looking at it, it makes sense from a standpoint of, like, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Except at step 4, just, like, completely broken. He's like, well,
one part in the plan
now
didn't really... that was the question mark before the profit, but it didn't really
yeah, like, he did
work out very well.
but he's like, lost all of his workers at home, so he's just like, okay.
Yeah. It was also
what do I do now?
Really light on units, so he had all of his Marines together. They run in, they get ensnared, and then die immediately.
Yeah, he sacrificed a lot of his production for his 1-1-1. Like, he did not have more Raxes and factories or anything. You just 1 Rax, 1 factory, 1 Starport for most of the game.
Yeah, he did not have a lot there. So still a really cool way to start off KSL Season 4. And I think that's probably what the rest of our games are going to look like.
I hope so.
I hope so.
I don't think so.
I mean, how many more builds like that can you prepare, right?
I think that only works once.
like, I'm pretty confident about that, yeah.
That Wraith thing should not work, especially if he knows it's coming. Like, I think he saw a couple of Wraiths. He's like, whoa, this is a little weird, but you did go 1-1-1.
For sure.
And then they came across the map, and he's like, whoa, what are you doing?
Well, especially our next map is going to be Overwatch, and not the game. Although Overwatch 2.2, you know, is the... well, it's the map version number, just to specify that.
Specify that, just in case.
But it's a 2-player map, so you're going to be able to scout your opponent immediately. So if you got any memes planned, you better hide some hatcheries or something like that. I don't know, because it's going to be a lot easier to scout, but also a lot easier to go for something like a 4-pool, you know, and just rush your opponent down.
Well, I think that would be very...
All right, here we are. This the beeps that they play before the games remind me a lot of like the old school modem noise when you had to log in or dial up to the internet. It's that same sort of like, this thing I don't have to do anymore, but it's nice to still have there. So this is game number 2 on the map Overwatch. In the upper left-hand corner in the blue is Mind, and in the bottom right in the red as Zerg is Modesty.
I don't think we're allowed to mention 4 pools. That's my prediction here.
Well, it's definitely not a 4 pool now, although he could cancel the larva if he really wants to. Nah. Yeah, I would say that you're probably going to get maybe 1 or 2 4 pools this entire season. It's that build that you really only get a chance to pull out once.
I mean, the thing about the 4 pool, like, even though it's so unlikely, that's the reason why it works. It's just so unlikely.
Yeah, but if you lose to a 4 pool, you're just like, oh, come on. Really?
Yeah. It's pretty uncommon, though. I don't think we'll see it at all, especially not today.
I remember watching Soulkey 4 pool Flash, but Flash was also proxying him, and he had the saddest look on his face when the Zerglings ran by, because he was just so dead. But it's that same feeling like you're actually a bad player or a bad person if you do that.
You're a bad person if you 4 pool?
Well, I mean, look, it's. I hope we get a chance to watch it, but it's not an aggressive build, or it's not a super aggressive build. And I think Modesty went for a 12 pool last time. And it was like hatch gas pool, or it was like pool.
I think it was a
gas hatch, I want to say.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. It's a new game. It's a 2-player map, and so already you're going to be.
That's just safe, right? He was just playing safe. I mean, there's nothing crazy about what he did. He didn't get like a really fast link speed or something. He got a pretty quick lair, but
yep,
that's nothing crazy.
You're right, and it looks like we're going to be seeing almost exactly the same thing this time around from Modesty. Yep, pool, gas, and then hatchery should be coming down. Just going to be opening similarly with that 2-hatch Muta. And it makes a lot of sense. It's a 2-player map, and so the Mutas are going to be able to run across the map pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, also, if you're Modesty, it's just a safe way for you to play. Like, Mutas feel like they give you a lot of utility throughout the game. I mean, offensive, defensive, and pretty much every way.
Yeah, but I think some people mentioned earlier, and I think we were talking about it, the 1-1-1 build that mine did was a little bit weird because usually you don't see those Wraith counts. But there's a Goliath build that allows players to open mech that's pretty decent against Muta openers, too. But it is still a little bit new, and I'm not sure I've seen mine do that very much, at least just from watching his stream.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be something you need to practice.
Well, obviously.
There's probably a lot of, like, question marks at certain points of the game where you're like, well, what do I do now? I've got these Goliaths, but I can't really push out or do anything.
Yeah, because you get Goliaths instead of turrets, and then if your opponent
Goliaths
gets...
are cool, but have you ever seen Goliaths fight Mutaling? Like, it's embarrassing.
Well, especially if you get carapace upgrades for your Mutas, Goliaths are quite rough.
Yeah.
So
they have windows, but it doesn't feel great, I don't think, unless you have like a million of them.
Well, I mean, maybe one of the players is playing on Mac. I don't know.
Sure. We'll have to see.
There's my dumb joke for the day.
I didn't even hear what you said.
I said, never mind. Anyway, the SCV gets in. Surprise, it's a lair. But hey, at least he's going to know that most likely it's going to be 2-hatch Mutas coming out again. And I would expect to see some kind of a similar response from mine, but maybe less turrets this time around because I guess he is still going for that high-tech route. He has gas in his main, I believe. So everything is actually looking remarkably similar to game 1.
He sends a second SCV out. I mean, he really wants to confirm what's going on. I think he did this game 1 too, where he sent the second SCV, but it got bopped.
Well, he's definitely he's using this one to scout for the 3rd location, I believe.
I mean, it'll come down and see the Nat.
Oh, I guess he's just.
I think the important thing is like drone count and like that kind of stuff with the scout.
Well, you want to see drone count. You also want to see if they have any Sunkens built, because a lot of pro players will try to skimp on that and build them as late as possible.
Yeah.
And if they don't have them, when this Marine push comes out, you can be in a lot of trouble.
Well, Sunkens come usually a little bit later, but this is fine. I mean, he's just coming in. He's going to make sure it's Aspire. There's some really weird stuff you could do if you really wanted to be weird, like throw it on Hydra Den or something.
Oh my god, that SCV cool. Got really blocked up there by that drone. But he's going to see everything, so much better scouting for Mind. And I guess it's a 2-player map, so...
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes home now with that. There's no real way. I like his build a lot better this game. Although I don't know what these Marines are going to do.
I think they're hunting for an Overlord in the middle of the map, but we'll see if anything follows it, because you can definitely pull the boys after this and make a really scary attempt at busting this. Because once again, yeah, he was just looking for the Overlord.
Yeah. That'd be the craziest thing. 4 Marines. He's like, you know what? I'm pulling the boys.
Well, you definitely don't expect that.
One Muta pops out. It's like, okay, I've dealt with this. Like, 4 Marines is not scary.
Nice. All right. So we're already going to see that switch to the Goliath build that I was talking about. The armory already coming up. This is a really cool kind of new style. Well, I don't say it's new, but previously, if you were going to do this, you went 5-fact Goliath, just ultra super all in on that. And it was powerful, but now it's a little bit more moderate.
Yeah, that sounds a bit better to me, like because, like I said, Goliaths are really weird in low numbers too. Like they're just not very strong. Like they get good once you have a decent amount of Goliaths, you know.
Yeah, but I mean, also, like I said, if you really want to go super hardcore on mutas, which I think Modesty will, and you get that air carapace, that is very good against Goliath. North American Terran player named Nyokin made a sick video about how much better carapace is versus Goliaths. It makes them take, I think, 2 extra shots to kill the mutas.
It's a big difference.
Than before. Oh yeah, for sure. Especially because Goliaths like dumbfire their missiles, so if it takes 10 shots to kill a muta, and you have 15 Goliaths, they'll all shoot at the same muta. So 5 of those shots just don't count.
Yeah, I feel like as long as Modesty picks up on what's going on, he can actually abuse this quite well, though. It feels like you're never going to push out with Goliaths across the map unless you have a really high number. So you should be able to just take a third, right, immediately as soon as you know it's this.
Well, it depends on how you do against the mutas. If they can get in and get a lot of damage, then yeah, you're staying at home for a while. But let's see, I think this is 6 mutas, if I'm not mistaken, and they should not be able to do very much here. But there is this high ground, which makes it easier to micro-mutas against the turrets. Actually, no, he's up to 9.
Are the Goliaths coming down? Oh, yeah, they are.
Yeah, so the Goliaths are going to help here, but they don't have Charon boosters for that upgraded range, which makes them giga bad.
Another thing is he just showed exactly what he was doing.
Well, hey, that's great information for Modesty. Also blocking another scout, and he caught the vultures before because he did this really cool thing where he spread out his units all over the map, caught the vulture, picked off the SCV. Okay, he didn't pick off the SCV. Never mind.
Again. Although I don't know what I guess the SCV is going to get the spires bouncing, but you can already assume that that's going to happen.
Yeah, if you're going Goliaths, then yes, you can assume that.
Yeah, see, I don't like that. It feels like there's not much like room to do anything here with the Goliath build. I feel like all of the options here are for Modesty right now.
Well, hey, if your opponent's going for mass mutas, and this is mass mutas, by the way, he's getting 2 control groups of mutas here, guys, and that's really going to be powerful with the carapace. But like you said, it is
like, how do you ever move out though?
Purely defensive.
Yeah. So when do you move out?
Well, you're going to be counting mutas here, and that will tell you if your opponent's going to be staying on mutas in 2 base, or if he's going to try to tech up after that. And currently, mine can figure out from the muta count.
Mine's looking actually pretty aggressive.
Well, he's going to be re-aggressed on, if I can make that word up, because Modesty is kind of all-inning here. He's going for massive lings, massive mutas, and he is just going to go for it. So the muta's going to hit the main super hard, and you can't put your Goliaths in 2 places.
I feel like this is a best-case scenario for mine, though, at the same time. Like, he has a ton of turrets in each base. I mean, Goliaths, like I said, they're not that great aggressively, but defensively, I don't see the problem with them. If your opponent's going to all-in into you, then this doesn't look too bad. But I mean, it might still be really scary, don't get me wrong.
It's definitely going to be scary. Mine just had every single scout this game picked off. And the mutas are going to run in, but they're running into maybe the most well-defended place on the map. Picks off all the turrets, and he's going to weaken this infrastructure and just try to deal as much damage as he can. The carapace just finished, so he's going in for this really sick timing. With this carapace, the Goliaths just deal so much less damage, and I think he's going to catch mine with his pants down. The mutas are just basically invincible with that carapace upgrade. They're going to die, but the numbers are so large that everything on the ground gets taken care of. The Zerglings are going to run through, which is going to take out everything else, and Modesty might have just broken mine.
Yeah, this is actually really close, though. I mean, how many mutas are left right now? 8?
I think he's reinforcing with more mutas here, too, but that's a lot of mutas. Yeah, he has 10 mutas left
10.
over.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Modesty just bopped on him. What is this?
Is like, oh, man.
GG, mine just taps out. Modesty with that carapace finishing, hit the perfect timing, and it felt like mine was as prepared as he could have been, but just didn't have enough.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it feels really bad. Like, there's like these small windows where Goliaths look really weak. And if you couch exactly what's going on really quickly, I think you can abuse it quite well. I mean, that was basically as prepared as you could be for mutas.
I mean, you had all your Goliaths
like 5
there.
turrets. He had like all of his Goliaths in a ball. I mean, what could you have asked for? There were no lings there, just muta versus Goliath.
Yeah, I actually thought he was going to do this really cool double prong attack where you run the lings in and the mutas, and that's kind of catching your Terran opponent off guard. But just the mutas, man, that carapace makes such a huge difference.
Right. Yeah, I mean, what can you expect, I guess? It felt like Mind had a good idea, but it just didn't work out.
Because he fought over like 4 turrets, was that? 4 or 5 turrets? Something like that. Like,
I mean, it was like 8 or 9 Goliaths, but that's just not enough.
oh yeah, you definitely need a lot more.
Although I think if there were just a couple more turrets, that could have totally like spun the other way. You know, like if all those meters die, the game just ends. You've got nothing.
Keep in mind, we still haven't seen a super standard game from Mind. Because we haven't seen him play bio, just like the straight up standard, I build lots of barracks, make Marines and medics, and run out across the map. Mine's just trying to avoid that, I guess.
I think it's because he likes to tech really quick, you know?
I mean, it's cool, but you also have to not die.
I agree. I agree. You should not die in
I
StarCraft.
concur.
That is important. Not dying in StarCraft is half of StarCraft.
I think it's basically all of StarCraft.
It might be all of StarCraft, but...
We'll get back to you with statistical analysis on that, guys. But
Yeah.
I think it's cool to see Mind pull out a few different styles. That Goliath style, like I said, is still kind of new. But just like you said, you really have to be, really good on your timings and have enough to hold on. So for the next game, I probably would rather see a more standard style out of Mind.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like Mind is going to play like that. I mean, the first 2 games kind of telegraph, I think, a lot of information. Especially the modesty now. You're like, okay, first game you did this weird Wraith thing. Second game you did this weird Goliath thing. Now what's it going to be? You know?
What do you pull out for game 3?
Like I'll be surprised if he just pulls out a completely standard game and wins. I'll be like, whoa, why didn't you pull this out the first game or the second game?
Well, one thing about KSL is that the loser picks the next map to play on. So in theory, Mind is going to be going through these maps that he thinks is going to give him a pretty good advantage.
Right.
I would say that map is not bad for Goliaths, but once again, you do have to really keep track of what your opponent's doing. And if he's still making mutas, then you can probably assume that Carapace is on the way. So I just want to see Marines, man.
If the Carapace is on the way, what do you do if you're going Goliaths? Like you build more turrets and then what?
Valkyries.
Like no, it doesn't feel like you have very many options, right? That's what I was trying to say. Like it felt like Modesty had a ton of options in that position. Well, but if your opponent feels really limited.
If your opponent's going mass muta, you want like Irradiate. That's
but how is he going to get to Irradiate when he has so many factories and so many Goliaths? It's like now we're going to throw down a starport, now we're going to throw down a science vessel or a science facility, then we're going to throw down Goliath or Irradiate, and then we're going to get a science vessel. You know, like how late we're going into the game now.
Well, what's really interesting, if you watch Flash play that matchup, he just has 5 more Goliaths.
Yeah.
Which is really kind of crazy. Looks like we're actually ready for the next game already. Wow, we are really moving through the games today. But hopefully Mind can pull things back, because if he doesn't, he is going to be going 0-3 in our first best of 5. Probably not the way he wants to start off KSL Season 4.
That's not the way anybody wants to start off Season 4. Unless
it's the truly big brain play where you go, you lose the first series to make people doubt you, and then you come back with a sick underdog story.
And you're the fan favorite forever.
Well, hey, Mind was one of the very first players to be a Royal Rotor. He won the first tournament he ever entered, and a lot of people thought he was going to be the next Flash. Unfortunately, after winning that tournament, he didn't do that again and kind of fell off afterwards. But you got to give him a lot of credit for that. So let's see if he can do it here, taking out Modesty on Fighting Spirit. All right, here we are. Game number 3 in the upper right-hand corner in the red is Modesty, and in the bottom right in the blue is Mind.
Yeah, not looking as strong as Modesty. I think Modesty's really in his comfort zone too.
Yeah, I would say Mind definitely ebbs and flows when it comes to his skill level. At least from what I was kind of reading from a lot of community consensus, Mind is not at his peak performance right now. And Modesty, it's pretty clear, has some really well ironed out openers.
Yeah, he just played solid. I mean, he scouted stuff, he reacted to it, and he found its weaknesses. Like both games. Even game 1, he didn't have full information. I don't think he did, because he lost quite a bit on the counter, but he still found total, control of that game.
Yeah, that Queen and Snare thing is actually just so choice. I haven't seen that in a long time, and it's really
so choice.
It's so cash. That's what it is.
I feel like I'm the old one here.
How are you doing, fellow kids? I can speak their lingo.
You're doing better than me. I don't know what that means. Choice.
It's fire.
Fire.
Yeah.
Okay, I know fire.
All right.
That was a meme from my time.
Nice. Eventually, I will resonate with some demographic for sure.
You've resonated with the 1996 demographic with the fire.
Only 90s kids will get this.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to see exactly the same opener. If it ain't broke, don't fix it for Modesty. But for Mind, build me some barracks, my man. I want to see.
There's the first barracks.
All right. Okay. Surprisingly, he's opening with a barracks.
What demographic do you think watches StarCraft 1 the most? I feel like this is really interesting.
Nostalgic 30-year-olds.
You think nostalgic 30-year-olds?
I would say that is almost the entirety of StarCraft viewers. I don't know.
What about in Korea?
So the Korean audience is probably like way more varied. You probably got some like grandfathers watching StarCraft out here.
Well, I think, like when I'm on the train and the bus, like StarCraft 1 seems just as popular as League or any of those other games.
I actually see tons of people watching StarCraft streams on the subway.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it resonates with all audiences, but I think StarCraft 1 for foreigners is different.
Dude, that's one of the reasons, like, that's the reason I fell in love with StarCraft from the very beginning. I didn't know anything about this game, and I watched Boxer split Marines around Lurker Spines, and I just saw that. I didn't know anything, and I could still tell that was the sickest thing I've ever seen. And I think StarCraft is just one of those games where you can just see a player do amazing things, and you don't have to know anything about it. You're just like, damn, that's actually sick. So
StarCraft 1 was so different for me because when I started playing it, I was 6.
Oh, yeah.
So I just played it for like the
So other kids are having
mechanics.
Duplos and like, you know, Tinker Toys, and you're playing StarCraft.
I was playing StarCraft because my older brother was into it. My older brother was like 6 or 7 years older than me, so he was like 13, 14 when StarCraft 1 was getting big, I guess, for him. I think that was when the esports stuff was getting a little bit bigger. I mean, that's like 2006, somewhere around there, 2005.
Yeah, that was like really the peak years of StarCraft. Were like 2006, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah.
That was.
I think that was when esports was getting big because I remember he was showing me Team Liquid and these other things, and I was just like, whoa, what's going on here?
Well, hey, look at what's going on here in the game. Another barracks. Big surprise here. So this is a barracks build for for Mind rather, and I really like this. It's going to be about the most standard way that you can play here. He's getting good scouting information, and he sees that Modesty is doing almost exactly the same build that he's done every game this series.
I don't think Modesty needs to change it up, honestly. I think it's on Mind to actually react to what's going on and be able to push or punish this, because it feels like Modesty can basically do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
so far in the
he's really dictating the pace of these games for sure, and currently Modesty has not been able to hold on against that. He's down 0-2, so I really hope that he can pull it back and really show us kind of that Mind style, which in general has been, in past seasons, pretty scary as one of the better Terran players out there, but he's just got to not die to these early mutas.
I think the only thing is Modesty hasn't seen any bio play yet, so it's possible that he skimps on like Sunkens or something if he doesn't know exactly what it is, but it feels quite unlikely. I mean, it's kind of, that's like #1 thing to not do. If you're a Zerg player, is to skimp on like Sunkens?
I mean, it's definitely a way that you can lose the game, but I think the hallmark of being like the top tier pro player is that you cut as many corners as you can.
Yeah, but I would say you only do that when you're disadvantaged versus that person. For example, if you're playing Flash, you want to cut as many corners as possible because you need to. But if you're considered the favorite, you don't want to cut as many corners because then you're putting yourself at risk of losing someone that's worse than you. For example, let's say I'm playing Neeb because I'm going to do StarCraft 2. If he goes Nexus first versus me, he's cutting a ton of corners. Sure.
Right, yeah.
But that would be insane, right? So
for
to some
sure.
extent, cutting corners is good, but if you consider yourself the better player, just playing as like a standard safe game is probably the best.
Well, it also kind of depends on the style that you're going to play, because if you're playing aggressively and you're going to put the pressure on your opponent, that kind of means you need maybe less defenses back home because you're putting on all the pressure. That's where the best defense is a good offense.
I agree.
Wise man once said.
Actually, like when really good players, the players that consider themselves better than the
oh my God, there's
oh my
nothing
God.
in the bunker? Are you kidding me?
Pretty good defense, though. Might only lose a couple SCVs.
I mean, losing SCVs to Lings at this stage in the game is crazy. But when he sees, when he sees that there's no Marines in the bunker, he's got to know
he's
stimming across the map.
He might actually get in here before the sun
Hell
gets finished.
yeah, he's actually going to do it. This is that Sashin style. He's going to stim down the first Sunken.
Oh, he gets the mutus.
And this is exactly what we were talking about. This is the punish. He scouted him early. He saw that there was nothing there, and he's going to stim in for what? It's just terrible, terrible damage. He killed off so many drones, there's nothing left to defend.
Yeah, I don't see how you defend this, honestly.
No, there's nothing to defend here. Mutas can't fight this. He only has 4 mutas.
I mean, he can just reinforce with this, too.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is with medics. Some ways, if you really want to hit, you just go with Marines. But the medics make this so defensible. The mutas cannot deal with this. They're going to try to pick this off little bit by little.
Actually, not too bad. There's only 3 Marines left.
Yeah, and there's no reinforcements here, so...
All these mutas are so close to dying, though.
I know, right? There's a world in which all the mutas die and then he loses this, but it looks like he will be able to take out...
How many Marines... How many drones did he get out? Did he get all the drones? Or did he fight with them? I can't remember.
He got quite a few drones, but even still, that's a ton of damage, but he did lose it all. If you can get that damage done and then pull back, you're good. But now, what does Mind have left to defend?
Yeah, mine looks okay defensive-wise. I mean, he has enough turrets, especially because the mutas are all bruised from that fight. I highly doubt they just run in here. I mean, they can try, but there's not too much damage here to be found. Looks like Mind is pretty well defended. I think this is still pretty good, but that almost looked like it should have been game-ending.
I mean, look, mutas are good units, right? And he did have that high ground to micro over. I think if Mind had maybe pulled over to the left-hand side of his screen where there's no high ground.
He might have gotten the base if he did that, I think.
Yeah, well, that's the idea. So I actually thought that was going to be really, really good for Mind, but instead he actually did lose everything and didn't kill the hatchery, and you kind of want to do that. So
this
now,
is actually what I was hinting at would be a possible weakness of modesty, actually. I was saying if he skimped on Sunkens.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, he didn't skimp on Sunkens. That's just a super fast timing.
Yeah.
So Mind is still going to try to play this a little bit aggressively, pushing out again. There is a third base up now for Modesty, which we haven't seen almost at all this series.
It's going to be hard for him to defend, though. There's no real... I mean, unless he just uses... Yeah, there's no Sunken. And I mean, there's also... the third base is quite exposed.
It's going to come down to Muta Micro.
Yeah.
If Modesty can keep this Bio Ball down before it moves across the map, then that is that's his ticket to victory here.
Yeah, he has to. Although that's not how you do it. I'm really scared for him. He's not building any more Sunkens either. He's really confident with his muta control. Like,
he's going to have to be. If he loses too many mutas.
He's taking so much damage without doing any shots, too. Usually when you take damage like that, you get a couple shots off. Or like that, but it hasn't been happening. It's only... Is that only 6 mutas?
Wow. If they only have... Yeah, I guess that is only 6 mutas. He's pumping off of 4 racks, but he's teching behind this, so it's not going to be like 5 racks +1 or anything like that.
I think he almost assumes he doesn't... Like, I think there's a window to attack here.
Well, let's see how many Sunkens he has. I think he should go for the third base, if I'm not mistaken. But oh, that's a lot of mutas, though. He did reinforce that ball. It was 6, but now it's up to 9, 8. Actually, almost 7 with that one. Yeah, 7 mutas. Oh, man, he's going for it. He's trying to kill it off. He is losing quite a few mutas here, but he kills off the Bio Ball again, and there's even more mutas behind this.
You lose 4 mutas there? I guess it's worth. Yeah.
Well, I mean, as long as you can reset the Bio Ball.
I didn't see those mutas off the right, but if that was all the mutas, that's not that scary, you know?
I mean, the big thing is, +1's done now, so that is a big deal. The only problem is there's not that many Marines left.
Yeah. It's really impressive play from Modesty. I mean, he really doesn't respect the Marines. He just doesn't respect them at all.
So this is one of those problem areas on Fighting Spirit where it can be kind of hard to build turrets or build enough turrets there. He's microing down the turrets, but if he kills those,
he's going across the map, though. This could be really interesting because if he...
Oh,
that's nice.
No! Why are there 3 Overlords? Maybe those are Muta Micro Overlords, but he loses 3 Overlords.
There's no Sunken.
He's supply blocked, and there's no Sunkens. Wow, he really did.
He's going to get supply blocked even more. Also, these mutas are injured from the turret fights he had earlier.
Oh my god, Mind might have found the perfect storm from earlier. The hatchery's really low. The mutas are really low here, too.
Really low. He's losing so many mutas.
Yeah, he can't fight this. Oh my god. Well, actually, the Marines...
He can fight this, but he might lose every muta here.
I think he is actually going to lose almost every muta. He's making more, but... I
don't know how many mutas died there, but that could not have been the best case scenario, you know?
For sure. I actually didn't realize he was making just an insanity number of mutas. I mean, I guess...
kind of wish Mind would have just clicked on the base. I think he would have gotten it.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are really risky scenarios, especially as a pro gamer. You have to make that decision on the fly and just potentially lose all of your Marines and not kill the base. But, I mean... I guess he traded for a lot of mutas, too. There's actually not very many drones here.
Yeah, but the problem is you can rebuild mutas. Like, rebuilding that base would have been tragic.
Yes, I agree.
So he absolutely should have stimmed down the base.
But in the worst case, the base doesn't die and you lost all your Marines.
Yeah, which is now.
Yeah, I guess. You're right.
I mean, hey.
Greater Spire.
Oh, I love this follow-up. So game 1, he went for that Queen Ultra build. Now he's going Greater Spire. And I think this is a great reaction against an opponent that's going for Marines instead of tech. Right now, the tech level is pretty low. Oh my god, the one stimped Marine. No way.
Do you think Mind didn't know that base existed?
I love how the drones go kill the Marine, but he got 2 or 3 drones? That's insane.
It's kind of strange. That Marine skill is a little bit strange because I almost feel like he should have assumed that was there.
Usually you stim fire bats in to do that, but the one Marine...
Well, no, that was a scouting Marine. That's why I'm like, did he not know that base existed?
I guess it was specifically to do that, to catch your opponent off guard.
Well, there's
now,
no way he's like, I'm going to send this one Marine, it's going to kill 2 drones, and then...
Sometimes you can actually do that. You're right.
Well, why wouldn't you send 4 Marines then?
Well, because
that would do more damage.
The idea is that, you know, less is more sometimes.
No. I reject your
It's a lot harder to sneak 4 Marines in than it is to just like run 1 scouting Marine in.
Sure, man. You got me.
He's trying to stim, or he's trying not to stim. He's trying to conserve that because he actually doesn't have very many medics at all.
Right.
But I think Modesty's gearing up for this big Guardian timing.
It's a little scary, though. If you're morphing Guardians or something and he catches on that.
Yeah, that would actually be totally tragic. That's one way to lose the game here.
Yeah. I mean, he's opened up a lot of ways to lose the game. I love this run by. This makes a lot of sense. You're going to try and pull him back so he doesn't kill
if he hits these Guardians, just like you said, Jake, that would be very bad. But he's going to run by with the Lings. There's not that many Marines in the bunker.
Oh, but he's gonna deal with this, and he's on top of the Guardians right now.
Oh my God, he's going to catch the Guardians. Oh my God, that's it.
That was sick.
You called it, Jake. What an incredible
You can see
timing.
the desperation with the Ling run by, right? Like, it makes sense. You're like, oh, please pull back. Like, it's such a bad spot to morph my Guardians.
So I actually thought that bunker was almost empty, but it was totally full, and there was just enough to hold against the Lings, and he caught the Guardians morphing. Oh my God.
Perfect timing. Perfect timing. I mean, any later, all the Guardians are out and everything dies.
Oh yeah, if the Guardians are done.
And you just get mutabopped, so that was perfect.
That was so sick. I think Mind got a little bit unlucky, but also Modesty was playing pretty greedy.
Honestly, that was a series of unfortunate events for Mind. Like, over and over again, he gets, like, completely caught off guard or unlucky.
He stims across the map and he can't kill the base. Then he doesn't kill the base again when he gets there, and the mutas barely hold on. And then he catches the mutas morphing into Guardians.
The one thing I'll give, Mind was extremely decisive the entire series. Like, every time he's... Okay, wait. We'll talk about this. Oh, never mind. We'll have more comments.
That's right. I think we have a break coming up after this.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
So, like I was saying, he was... Okay, never mind.
Anyway, continue.
He was extremely decisive, right? Like, there were many situations where I think a worse player would have retreated home and lost all momentum.
Yeah.
But over and over, we saw him just go straight across the map, take damage at home, and do damage on the other side.
Well, Modesty never built any Sunkens, so
which is really strange to me.
That's the mystery for me. Well, he tried to build one and it got stimmed down, but that doesn't count.
I think he was trying to cut corners to come back from his disadvantage, possibly. But at some points, I felt like he wasn't disadvantaged anymore.
So we had these Carapace mutas, and a lot of times that can be really good, and it really helped him hold on against that one like really hardcore fight the second time he tried to kill the hatchery. But at the end of the day, like, mutas were all he had, and he was never really able to get all the way across the map. But man, catching those Guardians, like, so morphing, like, there's 2 positions you can morph Guardians in. You can do that like very close to your opponent's base, like, or you can do it like far away. But if you do it far away,
it's better defensive. The other way, it's better offensive. I actually would have liked the more offensive version, I think, because you're going to take damage at home. But we'll see what the rest of the series brings us.
That's right. We'll be right back after a break. Hey everybody, we're back, and we're continuing our first series of the day. It's best of 5, and we have a series now that Mind was able to finally take out Modesty.
It's funny because Mind had seemed like he had all these strategies planned that were all supposed to kill Modesty, and then the third game he's like, you know what? I'm just going to play somewhat standard.
Yeah, sometimes
and found the weakness.
It's okay to be cute, but it's got to work too. And yeah, when Mind brings it back to the basics, although I will still say he did try some cute stuff stimming across the map. But Modesty, he kind of caught him with his pants down, and
I think Modesty came with an expectation that Mind would play a certain way based off the first 2 games,
right,
and then got punished the 3rd game, which is actually what I was assuming would be a possibility for him to lose that game, because he feels so strong as long as he doesn't just get punished immediately.
Well, that map was Mind's pick, and because Mind won that map, now Kukulza, who is also known as Modesty, we're going to call him Modesty just to put that out there, it's his turn to pick a map, and that means that he's going to be going on to Neo Sylphid. Sylphid is a 3-player map with not a lot of high ground, especially in the center of the map. So this is really going to change things up, and because it's not a 2-player map, you can't just like rush one base because your opponent might not be there. So yeah, it's going to change things up, and I love that Okay, I love that. We're about to get into game, guys. Haha, it was a delayed transition. No, what I was going to say is I love that.
How does it feel, Rapid? Welcome to the club.
I know, right? We just get one, right?
He was giggling after I got it, and then I was like, oh, yeah, here's some revenge.
Okay.
Production's like, you know what, Rapid?
They're going to get us all one of these days. I can't wait until Taste Narcosis.
Oh, they already got Tastosis.
Oh, nice.
I remember looking at a clip. Just like talking about siege tanks, and it just transitions. We're like,
oh, never gets old. So this is Modesty, our Zerg player, and then mine is our Terran player at the 12 o'clock
I feel like
location.
if I was production, I would just do this all the time.
Oh, I would troll the casters
You know what I would do?
nonstop.
I would just call a queue so that the caster's like, and we're going to commercial, and then just not go to commercial.
I would just observe dark places on the map and just make them talk about whatever.
Ooh, yeah, if you're the observer.
That would be casting hard mode.
But then you get fired because you wouldn't be able to watch the game.
You know, a small price to pay, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is a three-player map, and that means there's always the chance that the Zerg player scouts wrong with their Overlord and has much delayed scouting information. And hey, what do you know? That's what's happening.
Yeah, that is what is happening, but not the biggest of deals usually. It's actually kind of nicer on the three-person map because there's only one possibility after you scout the wrong way, as opposed to a four-player map where there's still two more possibilities.
Yeah, I mean he'll figure it out eventually. And this only really impacts it if one player is going for like a super aggressive build, but I actually think Modesty is probably just going to do the same exact build that he does. It's the same build we do every night, Pinky. Although I guess he's going 12 hatch this time, right? Where's the pool?
Yeah, it looks like 12 hatch. No, it's pool.
No, it has 12 pool, yeah.
I don't think we're going to see much of a change up. I bet he takes this gas. Like his opener feels like it's something he's very comfortable with. So
yeah, I mean it's pretty standard 12 or fast mutas, so 2-hatch muta I think is definitely the meta way to play this. But I think mine will probably play a lot more standard as well, just going for that bio play instead
especially because it worked so well the first game or the first win he had.
Yeah, I mean
Like
sometimes
I don't think we play weird style. Oh, never mind.
Ah!
What I meant to say was we're gonna put a factory in the middle of the map and. Okay, so
wow.
I actually have no idea what this is for, Rapid. What do you think the plan?
So this is to get out a vulture that is fast enough to run by the sunken. And if you can get a vulture in the main, you are
well, there's a second
God
SCV,
mode.
Rapid.
Well, so what you have to do is try to fool your opponent.
Is this for scouting?
So mine doesn't know where he is, right? So he's got to figure that out. So by putting the SC or the factory in the middle, you're equidistant from either base.
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, I'm sorry.
This SCV coming down over here. You see it near the third base?
Yeah.
Is this just a scout? Because it went this weird path. I think it was looking for the Overlord and Fifi was bottom right, but now he knows it's left side. I'm just curious what he's doing with this. It looks like it might just be
It's
a
also
scout.
going to dodge anything else out of the map, whether it's an Overlord or whether it's these Lings. He's got that second SCV out there. He's scouted twice because he needed to find out where the base
These
was.
Lings are not going to see this.
Instantly. Yeah, it is just out of position. The SCV is drawing the Lings away, so this Vulture is actually...
It's going to come in pretty much uncontested fully.
Yeah, exactly. And once this Vulture hits, ooh.
Yeah, this is annoying. Yeah, you can't even start a sunken, actually, because it's just going to get killed. Look at the drone. See, this drone should just get picked off. Pick it off. Pick it off.
Yeah, he's got to do
it's
it.
really
gotta
important
do it.
that you just pick this drone
if
off
he can
before
do
it
this,
kills
yeah, and he gets it. Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Oh, he's going Hydras. I like this.
Well, you got to figure out any way to deal with this Vulture because it's God mode right now. This is just going to kill everything.
Do you think does he follow this up?
I mean, I think at this point you almost just GG because you're going to lose almost all your drones,
What is coming
right?
across the map? Are these Marines? Is he just going to...
No, it's another Vulture.
No, I mean like from the main base. I think they're Marines.
I mean, I guess
I'm just wondering how we follow this up because there has to be a follow-up.
Well, you're bopping your opponent right now. Just get out of range of the sunken. Get out of range of the sunken.
Actually,
and
yeah. How does he defend
you
this?
just win the game.
Here.
Yeah, this is it.
Even if a
Damn,
Hydra
mine.
pops out, you can just kill the Hydra if you have enough of these.
Right, but your opponent hasn't been mining for a million years.
Oh, okay. Well, no,
and
this is
he
it.
kills off the sunken at the Nat. Ooh,
Oh, and there's a bunker coming down.
mine. So
should just-
sexy.
He should just be able to deal. Maybe he won't be able to deal with the Hydras fully, but he's definitely getting the natural. I mean, this bunker shouldn't get.
What's he gonna
stopped.
have? 3 Hydras?
Yeah, 3 Hydras definitely does not fight this. and win.
No. Watch him get mines at just the right time.
I don't think he has a machine shop, so we shouldn't see mines, right?
No, I was just kind of memeing at that point. Like anything he gets at this point is just gonna be gravy.
I wonder if he. I was gonna say. Okay, he's got a second Rex. I was wondering if he goes into 1-1-1.
Mine is 10 million miles ahead. He's
Oh,
right
you
now.
Get that.
Mine is like punching Kukulza into orbit. Kukulza can see the curvature of the Earth from how far he's out
Oh,
there.
look at these SCVs are repairing. Oh, okay.
Oh my god.
He might be able to build a bunker here too now.
Just get bopped on. This is so crazy. I'm so glad. You notice Mind has like really changed up his style here. He was playing like some defensive tech builds for the first couple of games, and now he's just running across the map, killing it.
Yeah, I mean, what can you really even do here? I mean, Hydras are pretty bad.
They are very bad. You've correctly identified that Hydras suck.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have to build Hydras against the Vultures, but then you lose against this Vulture Marine timing. This is so good, and now he's going to get to the back side of the base, which is totally undefended.
I almost wish this was like instead, because you kind of have to go into Hydras, but I almost wish it was Spire instead. Because I don't even feel like the Hydras have been doing much defensively, honestly. But if you could hold out into like mutas or something, then you have potential to do something on the other side of the map. But here, there's actually nothing. Like,
no,
you're not going to move Hydras out for a counterattack. You're barely defending as is. I mean, like, what do we have, you know, going forward in this game?
Not a lot, that's for sure. Modesty is in so much trouble right now. He's lost a ton of drones. He's lost his natural.
Build up a bio push and kill him.
Yeah,
like, that's just gonna happen.
And oh my god, more vultures coming through.
Yeah. Okay, there's no add-on on the factory. But you imagine if he just plants a bunch of mines there?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like, if at any point a mine gets laid, he's just, it's over.
Defend it with the Marines. Like, I don't know. This is really annoying, though. I think this push could just kill him.
Oh, yeah, he's super dead at this point. I mean, maybe there's a way you can, like, build up and push out, but your opponent would have to really miss micro. Oh, no, he's going to get a couple of Hydras caught here. Well, he just has absolutely no units.
GG, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised we...
He's not even building anything on the larva anymore. I think he's scouting, actually.
Is he?
He might be just trying to get intel, because, I mean, what is he doing? You
well,
know?
yeah, he just has no idea what's going on out there. A third Rax.
What is that? Is that a Spire in the back of his mineral line?
Is it? I thought it was like another Sunken or something.
It could be another Sunken, but I don't know what you're playing for at that point. It's not like he's got a Dark Shrine on the way, and he's just like, hopefully...
This is the Zerg equivalent of floating your buildings, as Terran.
I think he's actually trying to get information still. That's what it makes sense to me.
Here we go. Stim's done. Going in. Trying to take down the Sunken. It's getting lower, and it goes down.
This is it. This should be it.
Yes. This is...
Is that a Spire? Yeah, it is.
He is giga dead.
I think I like the Spire, but... What?
What? Okay, well, never mind. Once the spawning pool goes down, I mean, as if he wasn't dead enough.
I mean, the game is over. I'm just not sure if he's trying to get information on what Mind did fully. Like, does he know he should know it's a proxy factory, but I don't know what his plan is here. Yeah, no, he guaranteed knows that. He's just trying to survive as much as he can. That's like an okay drill, but I mean, drones are just gonna die. Yeah. GG, Modesty taps out, and Mind evens up the series, coming back from being down 0-2 with a couple of very aggressive games. Do you think Modesty's sweating right now, or do you think he's calm and collected and he's ready to do his last game? Well, I think Modesty was ready to hit the showers after game 2. He was like, all right, it's time to go. Get me out of this. I'm back on the subway. It's time for dinner. But Mind has other plans, and I think he is really changing a lot of things up to bring this back. It's really interesting that he didn't pick those maps, because he had these strategies, but he didn't pick the map. Like, for example, he didn't pick the 3-player map, but he did have a proxy factory strategy on it. I think when there are so many maps, suspicious if you pick the 3-player map rather than it be picked versus you. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Especially if if you pick a 2-player map, maybe it's a little bit too obvious. Right. Hey, I'm gonna rush you because I know where you spawn. But yeah, he actually played that very, very well. He double scouted to find out exactly where that was. But now we have one final game to decide who advances on to the winner's match for Group A. Modesty, you could actually reverse sweep, or Mind could actually reverse sweep here. He could. We'll have to see what goes on in this series. I mean, it is a 2-2 now. Yeah, I would say Modesty probably feeling a little bit of pressure here. I would be scared. I mean, the last 2 games have not been traditional by any means. Yeah, and I don't know if Mind can pull off another one of these like sneaky, wacky, aggressive builds. Like, that's definitely something to see, is if his builds last through a best of 5, because usually you're not going to play this or best of 5 this early on in the tournament. I mean, how many more strategies can you have at this point? You just proxied a factory and made a vulture and built a bunker. Well, Modesty is really going to have to stop cutting corners because he has lost a lot. He didn't cut any corners last game. He just didn't scout it, Yeah, like, I mean, he went pool first. It was a really well-placed proxy. If he went hatch first, he might have actually had the time to build a sunk.
All right, we're back to conclude our first series of the day. This is actually a really exciting series, Jake.
I thought it was going to be 3-0, to be honest.
Well, it was looking
after
like
the first
that.
2 games, he just won solid play. But these last 2 games have been kind of catching Modesty off guard and punishing him. So it could go anywhere now.
Well, mine was kind of desperation mode. He was about to be eliminated, and now we're going into our final game of our opening best of 5. Looks like we're about ready to get into game, so let's see what map it is. Circuit Breakers is the choice by Modesty. That's just like a big standard map.
Yep, 4-player map. I mean, I don't know if we're going to see a proxy factory on this one. That would be a little weird.
Yeah, you definitely, well, you have to get super lucky. And at that point, you are really, really gambling. So let's see if it's going to be a standard game or not. I can already tell you he's cheesing, Jake.
You can?
No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you can see the SCV going out on the map right now. Okay, here we are, our final game in this best of 5. Our Terran player is Mind in the blue in the bottom left-hand corner, and in the upper left-hand corner in the red, as Zerg is his opponent, Kukulza, who of course is Modesty.
Yeah, I expect 12 pull. I know it's crazy, but that would be my expectation.
Wow, you're really going out on a limb there, nerd.
And I
right?
bet he takes a gas after the 12 pull.
Whoa!
Yep. And then he's going to expand.
Your psychic powers know no bounds.
We'll see.
Where's that crystal ball?
It's in my mind.
Yeah, Modesty's done the same build almost every single game.
He's done it every single game so far.
Not
almost.
It's a
Every single
casterism
game.
to say almost
You
just to
tried
hedge
to
your
get out of it,
bets.
just in case you didn't remember. It's been every game. 4 games in a row.
Where you got to mix it up. I mean, mine is clearly mixing it up. He is really trying different builds all the time.
And mine hasn't done the same build yet.
Wow, you really are on top of these builds.
I am on top of everything right now. That's why they bring me here.
That's why they call you Jake No Regret on top of all these builds, Bumblebee.
Yep, that's how it works. They also call me the Zergling King, but that's for another game, literally.
That's right. Well, I mean, you can still build Zerglings here. Maybe you'd be the king of that too.
Well, maybe. We'll see. If you ever see me in KSL, you'll know I switched.
One of these days.
13 gas, 12 pull.
What do you know? Actually, I guess you could do that. It's probably not that good a build in Brood War.
Well, there's no
go for it.
injects in this game, so that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it really does. So exactly the same build here for Modesty. Surprise! But I want to see what Mind does. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see him stick on standard bio play, because that has been kind of his go-to. But he might try something a little bit more economical, like a Barracks Expand, if he wants to kind of play to the map, it being like a big 4-player
I'm a little
map.
scared for Modesty, actually, because I think the roles reversed. Remember when I said it's kind of in Mind's play to, change it up because Modesty had like such a solid play? Now it kind of feels like Modesty has to change it up because he's like there's been weaknesses that have been abused with his playstyle, and it seems like he's not really willing to change at all so far.
Yeah.
So I'm a little scared if he keeps playing exactly the same, like identically, because I think Mind has all the information he really needs. Like, for example, we can say there's going to be a lair and then a spire, like...
Well, that's why
Mind also
cheese is
knows
so
this.
good, right? When you play a lot of very standard games, you got to mix in something else. Otherwise, your opponent just really exploits that.
Right. I mean, StarCraft is just a game of exploiting your opponent, so if you kind of telegraph exactly what you're doing, you're just begging the question to lose the game.
SCV gets in to scout.
Unless whatever you're doing is actually just broken.
Well,
that's the only time where you're allowed to just telegraph exactly what you're doing. You're either way better or you're doing something broken.
Well, it's 2-2, so obviously neither player is way, way better than their opponent. I would say Mind looked a little bit weaker early on, but I mean, Modesty is clearly...
I think Mind looks weaker overall still. Like, Modesty still looks really strong. Like, the games where Mind has won have been very technical and very, like, specific.
For sure.
And overall, I would say Modesty's games when he won looked like he just executed. He had excellent execution. He knew exactly what was going on. You know what I mean?
Oh, look at that.
Ooh.
That's not a Spire.
This is good.
I love this. This is so cool because this is Modesty doing exactly what we were talking about, mixing it up, and this is after pushing away that SCV scout too.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to telegraph that you're doing the same thing over and over again. So far, Mind should expect exactly the same thing, because it's been exactly the same thing every game so far.
Maybe this is like him sort of like breeding this response into mind. It's like the Pavlovian response. You hear the bell, you start drooling. You see the same opener, and
that was almost scary because he was moving his lings downward. The only thing is that I can give Modesty or Mind a lot of credit to is he's been really on point for scouting, like all series. So it's gonna be a little hard to pull this off without the SCV seeing anything. Though there's not really much tell because we've also seen Modesty. Okay, unless I see the Hydra, that would be a pretty good tell, I guess.
I mean, you definitely don't show your Hydras yet unless you really, really want to go for it. Let's see how many he builds up. He's definitely going to try to push the SCV away, but
yeah, if that SCV comes in and sees anything, I mean, this would be huge.
Yeah, if he can sneak the Hydras by... so he hasn't seen the Hydras just yet. If those Hydras get across the map and morph, that is going to be so good. Now, is he sending out a second SCV? So he does this thing with the Marines to try to catch an Overlord. He never finds it. But the Hydras are out on the map. They're not scouted. And
he usually builds a bunker, too, though. We've seen a bunker multiple times this
year.
So there's none this game.
What our observers are pointing out, he is going bunkerless, which might be okay against Lings, not okay against Lurkers or Hydras. And yeah, but this might be a little bit late. There they are.
The one thing that's nice is he has to wait for the Lurker morph. I mean, the thing is there's nothing here for the Lurkers, but at least he's not just being attacked before the bunker is finished. Nice, he's getting his comm stats. I think he might be able to not just die. Like, it looked like he was about to just die, but the bunker should finish in time. He has 2 comm stats. I mean, I don't know if he picked up wind of this. Did he see a Hydra or something?
Did he? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, like, what? I guess he's just playing safe. Okay, now he knows for sure.
Yeah.
Look at all the bunkers coming down.
I mean, he knows at this point, but it might be a little bit too late. He's going for it. There's the burrow. The scan comes down immediately. Lings running through. The spines are good. They're taking everything out, but they're target firing the Lings, not the Lurkers. The Lurkers are burrowed. They're still doing all that damage. The second bunker doesn't have anything in it. The Lings get into the main. Modesty.
Yeah, seeing this a little too late, not enough time to react. GG is called.
Oh, Bustin makes him feel good. A 3-2 victory to narrowly take this series over Mine.
Yeah, this was really smart. I mean, it makes a lot of sense considering he basically telegraphed meet us every single game. Perfect way to really shake up the games and win a game really quickly.
And Modesty sold it perfectly. He snuck the Hydras out, and by the time Mind recognized what was happening, it was just a little bit too late.
Yeah. I mean, he telegraphed the same way every game, basically. Like, even some games he was skipping sunk and stuff, so it's really hard to tell. Like, let's say the SV goes in and doesn't see a sunk. It's still not really any information.
Yeah.
It could still be mutas, because normally you would get the sunken if you're going mutas, but Modesty's been skipping a lot of corners, so.
So even though he was playing against Mind, truly big brain was in Modesty's head this time around.
Yeah. I think Modesty overall was just the better player. I mean, the games are really sick, but overall, Modesty just looked really strong.
I just love that we're seeing so much variety. I mean, even with Modesty, the player that was playing very standardly, he mixed it up at the very last second and was able to take that down. I don't know how many of our games are going to look quite like that, because coming up next we have PvPs, and that's a very polarizing mirror matchup.
It's very different.
Yeah, but for TVZ, there's actually so many different things you can do. I think we picked 2 pretty good players to kind of showcase.
They both did something like that different every game.
Yeah.
I think Modesty was a little bit more conservative in that regard, but he looked stronger too. I think in general, the weaker player has to shake it up more than the stronger one.
Well, especially since the losing player picks the map that you're going to next. That can actually give you a pretty big advantage.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have too many players. I think Blockchain is maybe a really polarizing map, but I don't know exactly. That's probably just going to be banned most of the time anyway.
Right.
But that was a really cool series.
I mean, Blockchain's just never fun to play.
Definitely not.
I was playing like my first couple Brood War games, and Blockchain just confused me so hard. I was like, what's going on here? Where do I take my third? It's just, you know.
So what do you think was the most important thing that led to Modesty's victory there, No Regret?
I think it was the fact that he was willing to change up his strategies. I think that was also kind of the downfall too, though. Like, he was cutting some corners he shouldn't cut, but the most important thing was he didn't just go mutas there.
Yeah.
Like, because he telegraphed that every single game. He played the exact same opener every single time. He's just asking to be countered by going Spire there. So I think the Hydrogen after the Lair Scout is perfect. It just makes sense overall.
Yeah, because at that point your opponent didn't get a scout in to see anything.
He sees a lair, so he assumes it's Spire.
Surprise, but it's not. And
Exactly. So
like you could tell that modesty or that Mind was maybe thinking about that because he did go for a bunker. He was getting scanned.
though he has gone bunker every game. I think he had no clue whatsoever. The comp stat was to be safe, but he had no clue. Like,
Well,
not 100%.
Yeah.
If he had 100%, it would have been 3 bunkers, 4 bunkers, 5 bunkers, because you just don't want to die.
Well, also, you want a forward bunker there to force the lurkers to burrow and then push up a little bit
and then
further.
You can retreat further back.
Yeah, and then you can pull back. And once the lurkers have to siege outside of range of your natural, then you've already kind of won because they're going to be so delayed there.
Right.
But he was able to just run up, burrow, and he target fired down one lurker, but there's too much there. So.
Yeah, I think his ability to scout what was going on in transition, and he played a really good series. Like I said, it would have been a mistake to just do what he's been telegraphing every game, and he changed it up immediately. It was perfect. I think he played a great series. And all the games that he lost were just a tragic game for him. Like the Guardians getting caught on the map, really tragic.
Yeah, getting Proxy Factory.
The Proxy Factory was really tragic. I mean, like they were just tragedies.
Yeah, I mean, the Guardian more like
that's how tragic it was, to be honest.
This is our StarCraft K-drama.
Yeah.
Loving it. Yeah, I thought that Mind kind of came in with maybe a historical advantage. He was 64% win rate in KSL and ASL versus Zerg, so like that's pretty good. But Modesty definitely brought a little bit of craziness. Even though he started out the same way, I think every single build wound up being a little bit weird. That first build, man, I don't even know. That first game like doesn't exist in my brain anymore because it was like it's Snare versus like a triple Wraith
I think Mind
start.
came in really like. He theoretically played a really good series, you know?
Yeah, well...
Like, given all the tools he was given, he played a really good series. It just felt like Modesty was a stronger player. Like, Mind, I think, won the theoretical StarCraft game, if that makes sense. Like, he had the right ideas, all of the games. I mean, it just got kind of picked apart. Like, even on the map pick where it wasn't even his map pick, he had a really sick strategy, and he just killed Modesty with it.
Yeah, I mean... I guess you have to have different strategies for different maps.
Like, he theoretically played a great game. He just got punished.
Yeah. He would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for you kids and your meddling dog.
Meddling turrets.
Yeah. Well, or lack of meddling turrets, I guess.
Lack of meddling
Definitely
turrets.
didn't have enough of those. But wow, I think that's a really cool way to start off KSL because we got a chance to see two really interesting players who played totally different play styles and also played really exciting builds for us to kind of talk about. I think even if you really know StarCraft 1, that you're still going to see a bunch of different things. So I think that's going to do it for our opening series. I think we're going to head out to a quick break and then get back with our next series coming up.